Hynek. Representation for cases. So if it's he had daylight discs, he had night lights, and then he had close encounters. Close encounter 1 was just either in the area of the witness, so that would be, it didn't have to touch the ground, but it had to be close to the witness, and there's apparently no effects on the environment. Close encounter 2 is there's effects on people or the environment or animals, and 3 is when supposed occupants of the UFO are seen. Now people have extended that to like Close Encounters 4, which is a communication or an abduction. So that's fine, and we're interested in aircraft sightings, so when I worked with Weinstein, we used aircraft UFO encounter, AC UFOE, for when the air crews or air passengers on airplanes saw something. So that's something we've extended there that Hynek didn't have. And if there's other things, sometimes there's a lot of things going on with a UFO encounter, or a UFO case. So you have like one here. Here's one from France in 1929. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a French name, but it's it's in Quebec. Okay. It's an occupant case. There was wind from the UFO. The ground shook, and there's about 2 or 3 other things that happened in this case. It's just too much to put into this. So, but that's what we do it. So people can search that kind of thing. 1935, Uganda. There's a whole bunch of cases that Greenwood found in the Uganda Journal, and this is 1935. This is long before Kenneth Arnold. Lights being seen and objects being seen in the sky. It's just like a regular UFO flap. So, this is the type of thing we do. Okay. Okay, this is a Close Encounter 1. It's a vehicle interference case, a vehicle encounter case. The UFO blocked the road. 1936. That's, everybody thinks that, let's say the public thinks that UFOs started in 1947, but they go back quite a ways.
Well, that's when we started the National Security Council, NSC. I don't know if that's when Majestic 12 was started. Is that what we go by? Because we have the Majestic.
No, we go back to Kenneth Arnold, the first sighting that was publicized worldwide.
Okay.
So he was June 24th, 1947. That's there must have been thousands over the years, probably 10,000s of articles written on Arnold's sighting. There's not a book that doesn't mention him. So this is...
Do you think it was Fate magazine that put him on the map? Do you remember the history?
No, he had his sighting before Fate magazine existed.
All right, I guess that just made it popular for a lot of people, the word flying.
Well, no, the newspapers made it popular. The newspapers...
Okay.
The newspapers are the ones that coined the word flying saucers. He said it was skipping through the air like a saucer thrown over water, and so people, they said flying. The newspaper sort of coined the word flying saucer, and that's where that came from. Now there is a previous nomenclature for flying saucers. Skeet shooters sometimes call the skeet, when it's shot off, they call it a flying saucer. So that has some relationship too. Another Arnold, General Hap Arnold of the Air Force, when he was sending his pilots overseas, if they went by boat, a lot of them went by ship, and so he had them set up skeet shooting in the back of the ship, is to be able to practice their skills when they get in, or keep their skills alive when they got into combat while they were being transported overseas.
You okay there?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if I lost you.
No.
Sorry, I just heard you mention something or something clicked. All right, well, that's great that you're getting this. This gives a little bit of your opinion. I know as investigators, they don't really like our opinion, but every report I wrote for the Judge Advocate General, at the end of my joint, I had my JAG investigation, they let me, the last paragraph was finely tuned to say, it is my opinion that, but I like getting people's opinions because you had a trigger of emotion there, which is exciting because I know to a lot of our people that are in our MUFON or our Alien Conduct org, they say that people like you and me, they're historian, archivist, nuts and bolts, are boring. But they seem to like Richard Dolan. Rich Dolan, as Kerry Cassidy calls Rich Dolan. I guess he goes by Rich now. I don't know. But you had mentioned Richard Dolan, and I've had him here on the radio show, folks. You can go back and listen to a couple of chats with Richard and then Karen, his wife, ex-wife. I haven't had his new wife on, but Janet has. So, Jan, your name is not out there like our good friend that helped me start UFO Association, Stuart. Not Stuart. Well, it was George Filer, but the other one that died, Stan. Stan's in my books. We were going to write a book together, but his New York publicist, and he was working with Kathy Martin. So that was back in 2006 when he and I were discussing how we met Jesse Marcel, and then Don Berliner, which you knew about. Did you ever meet Don Berliner, or J. Allen Hynek, or Stanton T. Friedman, who I'm talking about, for the record?
I met Stan, and I met Don Berliner. I never met Hynek. I never talked to Hynek.
Well, I never met Stan.
I tried to talk
Berliner.
to him about a case one time, but he wasn't there. So.
Well, I talked to him. I've talked to him on the phones back in the day when we had phones, and they would just miss me on investigations. But the Men in Black or the different Air Force or Navy kept us all separate, I guess. But Berliner and Stanton were contractors, if I believe. Now, you understand when I talk whether I was in uniform or out. You understand the difference in, legal investigators, private investigators, government investigators, and then you yourself were intelligence, and as you said, S2 Division Army, but you were artillery. But I was a security manager for my platoon or my group or my, we have so many people, but when I was out in Hawaii, I worked the whole island. I worked the whole sink pack fleet, right, and worked with the Seabees and people coming on with their clearances to get on base. So, which they came to, Pearl Harbor first, right? So where were you? You were in Germany. You were in ufology before you left for Germany. Is that a correct statement that you were?
Yeah, I was in it before I went into the Army.
Let's clear that up because a lot
I was
of people
in ufology before before I went into the Army.
Let's clear that up for everybody. Can you explain that, please? Because you worked with Don Berliner downtown as a young boy in an office that I already know about. But for the record, would you explain that in 2020? Because ufology has got me. And I'll be honest, when Stanton Friedman and I used to talk, we laughed about ufology until he challenged me to pull up 100 UFO people that I could think about. So one of my assignments in 2006 for the UFO Association was to have a who's who of 100 ufologists, and I couldn't do it. So I guess that's why you and I are here today. And you even said a lot of our ufologists are not known, and you were going to help me with CUFOS get some of these ladies that were in. I like to bring in the lady ufologists. But so go back to your history. Explain, how could you possibly, to these young kids today, be a ufologist before you were even in the Army? I know why, but why don't you give a general explanation, folks?
Well, I read. I'll tell you what. It's just. I saw a ball of lightning when I was in junior high. It came out of an oven during an electrical storm, an electrical snowstorm during a blizzard. And it's a little, no bigger than a quarter ball of light that exploded when I opened the oven door. It's like a cherry bomb going off inside. It was really noisy. So I saw that. I asked my father when he came home what it was. He was a chemist that knew a lot about science, and he said, "Well, you want to find out what it was? Go to the library, because I don't know." So that's what I did. I started going to the library, started reading about ball lightning. There wasn't much to read. Then Encyclopedia Britannica said that some meteorologist in the 30s, 1933, a guy named Humphreys, had proved that there was no such thing. Does that sound familiar? He proved that there was no such thing. So, and as I started reading about ball lightning, I started reading about UFOs. So I read Captain Edward Ruppelt's the report on unidentified flying objects. And that got me interested in UFOs. At first I was interested in ball lightning, then I was interested in UFOs. Of course, that's exactly what they think about UFOs. Well, they don't exist. They're just, we're able to explain them all. It's exactly what they said about ball lightning until about the late 50s or early 60s, then people started looking at ball lightning again and saying, hey, there's more to it than we thought. So, I'm like, there was a fellow in the, after Humphreys decided that there was no such thing as ball lightning, he decided he would continue reporting on it in his newspaper column, so people would write him in with ball lightning cases.